Hey, what's up, lazy guys? Welcome to Let's Fix Things. Well, the time has come. The firewood shed is done. Everything is organized in front of it. So I am going to start getting ready to start making some firewood. I got a whole bunch of log length wood. I'll show you in a minute. I'm sure you've seen in some of my other videos. And I am way behind on firewood. So I'm going to dig through there and try to find the older stuff. Well, tonight I only have like an hour. So tonight I'm going to try out my new used chainsaw. I got a 441 Stihl, I do believe. I bought that from the gentleman I bought the stump grinder from. And I bought a 25-inch bar. I think it's a 25-inch bar and a new chain. So I put that on there. I haven't used the saw yet, so we're going to see. It's been sitting for about 6 months. Actually, nope. It's been sitting for a year because I bought it last year. I'm sorry. And I put the bar and chain on it. It fired right up. So as you see, I need firewood. And here's the trees that we just cut down a couple weeks ago. And right after I cut those down, they were actually right here actually. And the wind, we had a microburst with hail and everything, and it snapped that tree right off. And luckily it went backwards. So when they come back in the fall, I'm gonna have them cut that dead tree down and that totem pole right there to get rid of that hazard. Anyways, here's the wood. That's from a couple weeks ago, so that's green. I am definitely not going to be splitting that anytime soon. But look at this pile. Look at that pile. So I just pulled out some of these old smaller logs right here just to get going. I'm gonna cut them into firewood length, throw them in my dump trailer. I just want to mess around a little bit. It's a hot day, but I have some energy. But look at that pile. That is huge. And it goes all the way back. It goes probably back 40 feet. So my goal is pretty much to dig through. This side is the older side. So I'm getting these first. And then tomorrow, if I have time tomorrow, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna work my way back in there, cutting it all up to firewood length. We'll throw it in the dump trailer. We'll stage it in the backyard next to the conveyor. So when I split, all I gotta do is reach in the dump trailer and start splitting off the conveyor right into the firewood shed. But I am going to stack it once it's in the firewood shed. I'm not just going to leave it in a pile. You fit a lot more when you stack it. But I'm going to put a big chunk in there first with a conveyor, and then I'll go back in and I'll stack it. So that's the plan. All right, well, let's go. And one other thing, my camera lens is not dirty. That's all the smoke that's up in the air. This is the brightest it's been for the last 2 days. But for the next 4 or 5 days, the Canadian wildfires, allegedly there are fires up in Canada that are wiping out the whole Northeast with all this smoke. And it actually smells like burning rubber. And I am nowhere near Canada. So I don't know how that smell in particular is making it all the way down here. But they're saying this is Canadian wildfires. So you can see it kind of there, but it's a lot better today than yesterday. Yesterday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all my driveway lights came on because they're on a sensor. That's how dark it was, and there were no clouds. It was all smoke. Anyways, let's get back to work, or let's get started working. So this is the older wood, except for right here in the front. I'm trying to get back to that row right there. That's all the old wood. That's like 3 years, 4 years cut. And then I moved it out here because I'm not gonna have that much room over here with the trailer tomorrow. But what I am, so, you know, I mean, like the trailer comes to here, so I wouldn't be able to reach it. So now I'll be able to do all this, and that should be a full load. If I get everything I just moved here into the trailer, that should be a full load, because the trailer is like a third full already. And it's so heavy that I am going to hook it up to the truck tomorrow instead of the John Deere. And then that way I could just pull it right down and I could back it up, no problem. But yeah, so get in there. All right, guys, this is probably not the end of the video. I'll probably just throw some log splitting on there, or more cutting. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm trying not to get the big ones because I don't want to have to use the Excavator log splitter. I made a log splitter for the Excavator 2 years ago, and that's for the real big rounds. I could split the rounds in quarters from the machine, and then I could lift them up and put them on a splitter. I'm trying to do all the ones that I don't need the Excavator log splitter for, and that should be most of this whole row all the way back. So that's what my plan is. I'm hoping to get this whole row split and stacked in that firewood bin sooner than later, and then the real green stuff that I just had cut down the other day, I'll be able to put over here for now to get it out of the middle of the parking spot, and then I can just start working my way back through this row. So basically there's 2 rows. There's a row here, that's the older stuff, and it goes way back. It goes all the way up to that big tree back there, if not a little farther. And then this one, this tall row, goes just as far back. But a lot of this is new because I had a bunch of trees cut down last year, and my neighbor had a bunch of trees cut down, and my neighbors were massive oaks. And I got a whole bunch of their big rounds. I'm talking 24-inch solid oak rounds in here, you know, like 15 foot long. My Mini couldn't even pick them up. Those obviously are not gonna be ready by this year, by this fall, to burn. So I don't want to waste my time on those. Right now I want to get the old stuff because I need it for this winter. And then once all that's done, then if I have more room or more energy later on in the season, I'll start doing the green stuff from last year and this year. And then when all this wood is gone, my tree guys are coming back and they're cutting all these trees down. Everything you see except for that one big one there. All these are getting cut down. And the tulip tree, this tall skinny one, but this big one's staying here. But I don't need any more wood right now, so that's why I'm holding off on the tree company. All right, I'll be back either in this video or another video, but thanks for watching so far, guys. All right, guys, it's the next day. We're gonna attempt to fill up the rest of this trailer, and I hooked it up to my truck this time. That way I could actually max out the trailer. I'm not bringing it on the road, so I don't care about the weight. It's more so I want to just get as much wood in that trailer as possible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the mini excavator and I'm going to push and throw these logs up on that tongue weight so I don't have to physically throw the logs as far. And yeah, just making more room on the end of the trailer there. So that way we can go through and get as many of these old logs as possible and hopefully dig in there and get some more of the old logs. All right, I'll let you know when I'm all set up. Just when you thought you were gonna have a nice easy day and get something done that you want to get done, my track popped off. I'm on the driveway. Why would the track pop off on the driveway? All right, well, let's, yeah, that's the only one you can see how far off it is. See how there's no overhang there? And it's the whole track it popped off. If you don't know, this sprocket, these right in here. And it's wicked tight. So let me get some tools. I got to open up that access port and release the pressure and get that track back on there. And in one of my other videos, I do believe I put on there, I do believe a couple years ago I did a video on how to put a track on a mini excavator. And it's actually the same thing for a full-size excavator. It's just a lot bigger parts and a lot heavier parts. All right, let me go get the tools. I'll be right back. So what I'll do is I'll do a real quick how-to on this just to add this to the video. But this is one reason when your buddy has equipment, you know, like this is a used $20,000 machine. New, they're like 60,000. So when your buddy has this equipment stuff, and they're like, oh, well, just let me use it. You know, you already have it. That right there, that track, every time it does this, that's why I gotta hurry up and get it, relieves the pressure. Every time it does that, it weakens a track. These tracks are $3,000 to $4,000 to replace just for me to buy the tracks. Never mind the downtime on a job, the shipping, all that goes with it, if you can even find them. So if a machine like this is down on a job, that's $1,000 a day that machine is sitting there that you're not making. And luckily this is at my house. I'm doing firewood, you know, so you know, it is what it is, and I didn't break the track. But I've had this happen a million times at jobs where I'm in the woods, when I'm doing, you know, going up steep grades in the woods or rocks, or just turning too hard or whatever. It's inevitable with any kind of rubber track machine. So when a buddy says, hey, just let me borrow it, there's a value to that. It's a cost. And if it just happens to break on his job, guess what? On that freebie, you're out $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, or you can't use the machine to make the money that you need it for. So a lot of people get mad when, you know, you're the only guy in the family with a pickup truck, and everybody wants you to do all these favors with a pickup truck. One thing I've noticed, and at this point in my life, I could care less. I help anybody who needs it. But when you're first starting out, if this breaks down, you're out of that money income, and people get mad at you because you're not giving them something for free. It's not free. I didn't get this for free. I earned this. I worked for it, and I'm still working for it because you have to maintain it. So it's just like I said, the guy with a pickup truck, the only guy with a pickup truck in the family. Hey, can you help me move a couch? Hey, can you do a dump run for me? Hey, I bought this furniture and I need a way to get it home. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but you got to remember, if they do it for free, that's a courtesy because there's a value to that. That's why you don't have one. You chose a different thing to spend your time and money on, versus a person with it. That's what they chose their money, time and money, and energy to purchase, to build. So, but anyways, let me show you how this works real quick. There is a better video, I do believe, on my channel on how to replace the tracks on these. But all right, let's get going. So the first thing you definitely need a grease gun, and need a socket set depending on what machine it is. You're gonna take these two bolts off, and that's gonna open up a access port. Let me do that. One thing to note on these, they're very short bolts, very short, and if you're doing this in the dirt, you will lose them. All right, so this is what you're trying to access right there. One other safety point is never put anything underneath here, body part wise, because this machine right now is being held up by the hydraulics, and if it fails, you never know. You don't want to be underneath it. So basically in here, that's just a grease fitting. See it? But it's part of a bolt. Let me see if I can clean it out for you. You see in there? So I'm going to put a socket on that, and I'm going to crack that open. I'm going to basically release, not this little nipple here, not this, that big bolt back there. I think it's 11/16 if I remember correctly, or equivalent to that in metric. And what that's going to do is that's going to open up a port where grease is going to pour out of a piston that's back here. It's going to actually pour out all underneath here. And what that's going to allow is that's going to allow this idler pulley to slide that way. Well, it's only going to come up to about here, maybe at the most. And that's going to give me some looseness in this track. See how tight this track is? See, it's wicked tight because it's not where it's supposed to be. All right, so hurry up, let me do this. So I got a 17 millimeter on there. I don't know if I'm able to do it one-handed. Hold on. Yeah, let me break it loose and I'll come back. All right, there you go. I broke it loose. You could look at it dropping. That's how much pressure is on this. Look at all the grease coming out. See it? That's just because I cracked this open. Look at all the grease pouring out of there. And it's giving me, this piece here is sliding in. You can see where it was. It was all the way out here. And it's sliding this way. And and all the grease is coming out. That should be enough. It's easier to do if you don't want to live. These are like 400 pounds. So if you want to make it easier, you do as much as possible. Get out as much as possible. But you got to put that much more grease in. So snug it up. They don't have to be tight. You don't want to break them. And you can always tell what socket it is because it's always covered in grease. But there you go. So there's the grease. That released all this pressure. Let me get you a little wider. Now you can see that I have all this play in it. This was way up here. Now the hard part is I got to lift that up and onto that sprocket. So that's the hard part. Just that easy, guys, on a nice dry day on the ground in a driveway. I've done this in swamps, on the side of mountains. It could be a rock gets in there and pops the track off. It could be a stick. Big sticks are really known to do that. Stumps, your track is loose, or in my case, I think my sprockets are worn out. The tracks are relatively new, and all the guides down there are all new. I have videos of me replacing them, but I have not replaced the sprockets. That's the thing with the teeth going around. I grab it, the gear, and those are probably worn out. The machine has 4,000 hours on it now, and I've owned it for the last 3,500 hours, and I've never replaced them. So that's probably why, and plus I'm turning on dry asphalt. That's why you see guys, when they turn an excavator, they lift up the track and they twist it on the ends of the track. They don't just sit there and turn on a dime. But yeah, you get used to it. If you own a piece of equipment, make sure you have the necessary tools on site. Because I've gone to job sites real quick. I've gone to job sites on it's supposed to be an hour job. I just throw the machine on the trailer, get there, start the job, track falls off. Have no tools, have no grease gun, or have tools, have no grease gun, have a grease gun, have no tools. Next thing you know, a 1 hour quick job turns into a whole day. Never mind if it's in a swamp, in a puddle, precarious. A lot of times it happens when the machine's on a bad angle. So now the machine's on a bad angle, and now you got to put it on a worse angle because you got to get the side up in the air. Sometimes you can't get it up in the air, so you actually have to hop it out on one track and then go back and pull out the 400 or 500 pound track out of the woods to get it to where you can have the room to put it on. So if you have a piece of machine, make sure you are ready to repair it or get it back going, so it doesn't cost you time and money, because time is money when you're self-employed. All right, let me finish moving some of this firewood in the trailer real quick. I'm almost done, and then I'm gonna start lining up some logs to cut them. wondering what I was doing, I found a very active carpenter ant nest. As you can see, they're falling out. I sprayed everything, but they're everywhere. Luckily I had a can. They're everywhere. One downfall of doing firewood, but luckily I had another can left, so I soaked everything, so most of them will die. I have one full load that is good to go, and when I get ready, which will probably be tomorrow, I will set up the log splitter over here, try out my new table that I made for it on the front of the log splitter. It's actually sitting on a conveyor, and I'll just work right out of the dump trailer. I'll pull the dump trailer up, and I should be able to get that done this weekend, I hope, if nothing else happens and ruins my schedule. But that's the plan. We're gonna try to get that whole trailer split this weekend. So now I just have to clean up the driveway and put the Mini away. And then I will be done with this. I got a good amount in there. If you look, you know, there's a 15-foot path cleared in there. The one full of ants, the pieces I threw over there, I'm gonna let them find a new home before I go putting them in a trailer. But yeah, so that's all the wood I'm trying to get. I'm trying to take that wood all the way back, because there's a bunch back there, and that's all 2 to 3 year cut. And then you can look at the size of that log right there. That's 36-inch diameter right there, at least, if I had to guess. So I want to get all this done so I can dig through this big pile here, take the green stuff, put the green stuff over here, and then split the stuff that's 2 years old, because there's some 2-year-old stuff in the back up there. It's pretty much right where that big log is. From there back, I got to get out. But anyways, that'll be the next pile right here. This little messy pile here, and then keep digging my way in there. All right, let me blow off the driveway here so I can park the mini excavator. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. That's basically how to fix rubber track excavator when the track falls off, using my new used 441 Stihl chainsaw, filling up the dump trailer with some firewood, because in the previous video I moved my firewood shed since it was empty. I have a 24-foot 7-foot by 24-foot firewood shed in the back. Check that video. I ended up moving it. I bought it 2 years ago and I didn't like where I positioned it then, so I just repositioned it and made it a lot better, a lot more user-friendly and more decorative. It looks better. It looks like it fits better before I split any firewood and put the firewood in there. So, all right, well, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Don't know what it's going to be. Don't know where this video is going to fall. It's middle of summer right now. I don't know if you're going to see this in summer, spring, fall, winter, 2 years from now, or never. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out some of the other videos and give me a thumbs up if you'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. See you guys.